All right, welcome back to the Ottawa studios of Mastering Risk. I am your host, Dr. D, and today we are going to talk about why groups of other entrepreneurs together are far more likely to be successful in navigating this chaotic and uncertain economic environment. So sit back, grab yourself your favorite beverages. Let's get at her. All right, thanks again for joining us here on Mastering Risk. Last week, we had a couple of great conversations about how to look at risk and how to figure out what exposure to and dependency on you and your family, as well as your business and your employees, face in the access to or failure to access one of the 10 sectors of critical infrastructure. I've got a lot of great feedback on that episode. That is just a bit of a beginning part of what we're trying to achieve here, is providing the best possible information we can that's based upon evidence, which means we can back up what we're offering you here with clear delineative proof that what we're saying works and what we're saying has shown to deliver better post-event outcomes. Because in the end, what we're trying to achieve is helping you, the small and medium business owner, the micro entrepreneur, the solo entrepreneur, or that person sitting in their living room going, you know what? I would love to start my first Etsy store. I want to start a print on demand. I want to be a podcaster. I want to start a YouTube channel. All of these people who are stepping out into the world or who are thinking about it, as soon as they do that, they're exposed to a number of risks, many of which they don't normally think about, whether it be operational, reputational, strategic, or the most familiar one, cyber risk. All of us stepping out into this world and trying to make a go of a business, trying to help out society, trying to solve problems that people have with innovative ideas that really help them move their own lives and their own businesses forward. We're all exposed to these risks. And today what we want to talk about is the idea and the concept that you're not alone. That trying to navigate all of this chaotic and crazy uncertain environment on your own as an entrepreneur sets yourself up for missing quite a number of things. You obviously don't have the time, space, and energy as an entrepreneur to keep your nose to the ground to absolutely everything that's going on in the 4 areas of risk that we talk about that could affect you, your business, your family, and your employees. And because of that, things can occur in the market that you're unaware of. And it might not be just your market. It might be in the broader market sense. When we're talking about the bigger piece, the introduction of regulatory changes, policy changes, we could have a change in tariff policy from a friendly government, or any number of international regulatory frameworks coming down, like the EU Digital Act that's coming to all of our spaces on the 1st of June in 2026. When you look at all of these things around you, you say, how do I keep abreast of everything? Now, the wonderful power of AI has given us is you can ask AI questions. First, you have to get the prompt right, and that's not hard. Over time, we're all getting a little bit better on prompt engineering, and there's a lot of websites that have prompts that kind of, what you're looking for. But do you know what to ask, and do you know what areas to ask about? It starts to say, yeah, you probably could get a number of information that's available about risk management, risk exposure, and how to mitigate potential downstream loss. But then at a certain point you reach, I only have so much time in my life as an entrepreneur. I'm very busy. I've got so many things that I'm trying to pay attention to in running my own business and keeping it up and running. I don't have hours a week to dedicate to prompting AI to talk to me and tell me all about the latest risks that's emerging in cyberspace, operational risk, first, second, and tertiary tier supplier issues, and things in the strategic landscape about where the market is going, where the big muscle movements are going to be in a couple of years, those type of things that have significant impact on your future potential earnings, your future potential market share, are very difficult for you to do simply Not because you don't lack the skill set, but you lack the time. So what always happens in the entrepreneurial world is you're the accountant, you're the software person, you're the inventory manager, you're the shipper, you're the receiver, and you're everything. At a certain point, that does run out. So here at Preparedness Labs Incorporated, what we've developed is something called Mastering Risk, the Community. And it's built on the principle of social capital. I'm a researcher in social capital. I'm on the board of directors of the International Social Capital Association. It's an eclectic group of scholars around the world who get together and understand the power of human relationships and the power of connections and how we can use that to influence any number of arenas and areas in which the human animal operates. I take that knowledge of social capital, the knowledge of human interaction, the knowledge of those relationships, and bring it into the risk management scape and say, hey, if I was to gather 30 individual solo entrepreneurs together, and I was to say, I'm going to give you an opportunity to buy in at a very low rate, a fractional ownership of a risk management community, where you're going to get a regular feed of information, the latest update. You're going to get regular bespoke industry specific material provided to you. And then once a month, you're going to jump onto a 2-hour webinar with professionals in the field, be it a cyber professional. Maybe the following month, you're going to look at a logistics supply chain professional who's there to answer all of your questions. And you can ask direct questions that you're having specific to your industry. And when we talk to a whole bunch of solar entrepreneurs and ask them about that, the number one key was, what do I have to do and what are you asking me to do? Because the big pushback was, yeah, this is great. People have courses, and we sell courses at Preparedness Labs Incorporated. We have a whole slew of digital courses. Ours are based on YouTube videos, which means you get access to a private playlist and you can review them at your leisure, return, etc. And then many of our courses have very small handouts and things that, unprotected spreadsheets that you can adjust and amend as you see fit that just help you think about this area. We've kept it as very basic and simple, which means there's no new apps. There's no new things you have to download. You don't have to log into anything you're not already logged into because everybody's either on YouTube, everybody uses Excel, and we're on Shopify, and everybody is on Shopify to some degree or another. So to make that as low barrier as possible, what the feedback we got was, I don't have time, like I'm not available Thursday at 6 or Tuesday at 5 or whatever. So we designed the system where we distribute the material to you on a regular basis into an email inbox that you tell us, can change that anytime, and then you consume it at will. And so what we want to talk about today is our risk ecosystem and how risk ecosystems can help you. The first part is understanding education and theory. And as a professor myself, I understand the value of the theoretical frameworks and the ideas behind and the concepts and what definitions mean. And there's not a lot of them in risk management, but they are important to understand and what they are. And so that's why we developed the video course and the downloadable material that basically says it's here for you. It's very basic. And risk management has a massive nomenclature, like many of your fields do. It doesn't matter what field that you happen to be in or whatever field you're starting your business, they all have definitions, process, policies, procedures, etc. What we've done is said, okay, every single business operates in 4 areas. They operate in the cyber domain. Can't run a business today without being in cyber. You have an operational, you make, you buy, you ship, you create, and you send something to somebody in exchange for money. Otherwise, you don't have a business. You have strategic risk, which is you're thinking about where you're going. You're in a marketplace that others can influence. What does your marketplace look like in a year or two? And what are the big decisions you need to be considering now? Or what decisions do other people make that impose a significant burden on you or harm the market in which you operate? And the last one is reputational risk. Cancel culture is real. And it's not just because they didn't like the tweet you sent. A lot of firms end up doing dumb things and they fail in the ability to own it and own it quickly, which means the universe comes for them. And when they come for you, it is very, very difficult to rescue a brand. You might have spent 5 years building this incredible brand and this incredible voice in an industry, only to turn around to have that squashed simply because of your decision to, something blows up on a Friday afternoon and you said you'll deal with it by Monday, but by Saturday morning, you're done. You have 470 negative reviews on Trustpilot right off the bat. This is the issue that you have, and this is the world that you face. So a little bit of education. We offer it here on the podcast for free of charge throughout a lot of our episodes. If you want it summarized in one place, yes, we have a paid product, but we also have a free downloadable risk management guide for small and medium businesses that talks about this. It's available on our website at preparednesslabs.ca. It's free of charge. So understanding a very few number of definitions is really, really important. When we talk about the community, though, which is the key to all of this, social capital is your norms and your trust and your human relationships that we build, right? Think about your faith groups. Think about your baseball or soccer teams. Think about your community organizations. Think about your extended family. Think about all of the different groups that you choose to be a part of and the value you get from that, right? You enjoy being around a number of people. I'm an Army veteran, right? I'm a member of a number of veterans organizations. We periodically get together, but it's important to keep that cohesive group. It's important to talk to people who have a like experience. And one of the things entrepreneurs find out really, really quickly is if you jump into the entrepreneurial world and you have a ROAS issue, or your cost per click is up, or your conversion rates aren't where you're supposed to, does your regular friend group understand that? Often they don't. And so entrepreneurs sometimes have difficulty where Google or AI becomes their answer to their questions. But we as human animals, we do much better when we have a community and a group of people, an entrepreneurial group, who are all trying to do the same thing. We're not competitors with each other. We're not trying to stuff each other. What we're trying to do is learn from each other. And we do. If you put 20 or 30 entrepreneurs in a virtual room together or in a physical room together to just talk about the entrepreneurial journey, you're going to learn a great deal. And that's the idea of the community. You learn from other people's experiences. And I always use the dry cleaner because people don't, dry cleaners are entrepreneurs. Pet groomers are entrepreneurs. Deli stores are entrepreneurs. Small restaurants, they're all entrepreneurs. And the problem you're facing and the issue you're having trouble figuring out a solution to is probably something that they've faced. They're not in the same industry as you, but they have suppliers, they make or buy something and they ship and they sell it. So they face a lot of the very same issues. And so what we find is when we put these entrepreneurs together from a disparate group of fields and different types of businesses, that actually there's a great deal of common in there. And really what they're trying to do is build relationships, right? Because business is all about relationships. People buy from people they trust, right? It's like I put on this podcast all the time and out on YouTube to say, hey, I want you to trust me, but I have to earn that trust. I have no right to your trust, and I have to demonstrate my credibility in this space, right? So I put my credentials out there, and I give this to you. I have over 370 episodes of this podcast over the last 5 years, over 1,000 YouTube videos and shorts on our YouTube channel. The data is there. Listen to it. Listen to me for free. And at some point, you're going to determine whether I am somebody you believe that you can trust in this arena. And then that's how we make purchasing decisions. So you offer material and offer advice free of charge through platforms like this to build trust with your clients. The same thing happens when we get together. There's no dumb questions. Right now, I'm teaching a course in disaster and emergency management to a group of incredible students. And it's all about facilitation. It's all about getting people together in a room to solve a common problem. How do you persuade people that they need to be there? How do you persuade that there's value in showing up? How do you persuade that they might have something to offer? When I go to the local corner store and say, you have a role in disaster response, you often get that strange look. What are you talking about? No, you do. You have a role in disaster response in your community, And we'd love you to come sit down around the table because we'd like to hear what your needs are and what you can bring for the community. And together we can build resilience as a group. Amazing. People look at that and go, yeah, maybe I'll show up. And then after the first meeting and after some great relationships are built, people move forward. And then we think about access to certain professionals that you don't have access to. How do you get access to a business continuity professional? Well, I have a lot of friends who are certified business continuity professionals. They're brilliant, and they'll charge you somewhere between $8,000 to $12,000 for an annual report, business impact analysis, and a business continuity plan that tells you how your teams and your agency should be set up to respond with a bunch of response plans laid out. The problem is they're not wrong. That works at scale. It absolutely does, and it works in areas and organizations that have regulatory compliance issues. Certain industries you're in, you're going to be required to have a formal ISO compliant business continuity plan. Great, go get it. And if you need help, I can tell you some brilliant people who can do that for you. But step that down to the solo entrepreneur, the micro entrepreneur, and the small and medium business. You don't have teams that you can dedicate for disaster response. You don't have time to run a series of quarterly exercises. You don't have the ability to build these long plans and rehearse them. That's not helpful to you. What is helpful to you is bigger questions like, what's going on in my industry? What risks am I facing? And what's likely to happen? So you need access to the professional, but not at buying the whole professional. And we're seeing an emergence of this, and we're offering this as a fractional access to a professional. And that means you're buying access to a cyber professional, a supply chain management professional, you're buying access to a business continuity professional, and a strategic business coach professional. You're buying access to all of those at a fractional rate. You're going to get information from them, and once a month in the community, you can hop up and jump in a call and have a conversation with them at a fractional rate that is incredibly lower than what you would try to pay for an hour of service for any one of these professionals. That's the idea. And then as a community, you churn. And no, this is not another Facebook group. None of that exists. We're not trying to force it. We basically provide that information to you so that you have the ability as an entrepreneur to consume it, right? Because I don't know what your business pace is. I don't know what areas and times of day and times of month have an increase or a lower demand on your time. And so the best way that we have heard from solo entrepreneurs and small and medium businesses is to provide them the information when we can on a regular basis. And what they do is then they consume it at their end when they have the free time. So you're accessing great advice, you're accessing expert oversight, an independent view on your business, and crisis intervention. What do you do when the balloon goes up? What is your next step when you get a ransomware demand and all of a sudden all of your IT is locked down? What's your strategy? Because 90%, and I'm serious, 90% of small and medium businesses in North America suffer a significant disruption every quarter of some type within those four areas of risk: cyber, operational, strategic, or reputational. Something goes bump in the night every quarter for pretty much everybody. Of those that get hit by a significant event, 40%, and that causes them to temporarily shut down operations, 40% of those never return to business. They're just done. They're cooked. And of those ones that do return, the other 60%, 25% of those don't make it through a year. So you can see that these significant disruptions that are out there, that are occurring every day to small and medium businesses, have the absolute power to take your business to its knees and shut it down. And what we're offering to you is, short of paying an exorbitant amount of money for a whole bunch of high-priced consultants to come in, that you, and we argue, you are better off by joining a community of like-minded entrepreneurs and individuals who think like you, who are after it. They're bold, they're innovative, they have a huge amount of hope. They jump in with 2 feet. They're not risk adverse. They embrace risk, but they want to understand risk. And as we used to say in the Army, I'm going to charge forward, but I'm going to protect my flanks. That's what risk management does for you. That's what we believe in, putting you in a community with other entrepreneurs. We used to see this pre-pandemic. You used to have small organizations, so small business associations that would meet quarterly. And they would bring in a guest speaker. Might be on supply chain, might be on government regulatory policy, might be on any number of topics. You would get together, you would get to grip and grin, handshake, that type of thing. We used to see a lot of that before. Now we're seeing an exponential growth in the number of small businesses. Here in Canada alone, there are over 5 million Canadian privately controlled corporations, a CPCC, which is similar to the American LLC. 5 million in Canada. That means literally 1 in 8 Canadians, including infants, own a business. That's the number of people that are out there who are trying their entrepreneurial toes, who are dipping their toes into the business. Now, some of these are Uber drivers. Some of these are independent actors in the voice space. Across any medium and any product that you could imagine, there's an exploding number of people that are realizing, because of the current economic downturn, because of future potential pressure from AI and other sources, that their confidence in their ability to continue earning the current salary they do long term might be in trouble. And as such, they're looking to some type of side hustle, some type of small entrepreneurial journey to figure out whether entrepreneur is for them, how to do it, how to operate, as a bit of a crutch in case the unfortunate plan happens that you get fired, which is becoming more prevalent than you may want to admit. So that's what we're here to do, is to provide that risk management support to small and medium business and solo entrepreneurs who are trying to get out there and get after it. And it's simply about saying, you have a reputation. You should have a strategic vision of where you're going at least a year out. Some say 3, but I would say a year in this crazy environment is a minimum. You got to have an operation. You know how you make or buy, package or digitally send products, do reviews, get money, pay your taxes, that whole operational flow of information and products. That's all it is. It's the flow of information and products. You do that. And then you're on cyber domain. We're not talking about something everybody is not doing now. We're talking about what steps can I take as a solo entrepreneur? I own my own business, Preparedness Labs Incorporated, and we talk about it in the free download that's available on the website at preparednesslabs.ca. We talk about what are the things that you can do right now to mitigate cyber risk, right? There's some very simple things. Make sure all of your software is up to date. You wouldn't believe the number of companies that are running unpatched software right now. And unpatched means they're old versions of software that are not on either automatic update or update notification, or they're software that is so old it's not updated anymore, which means the exploitable holes in it are well known, which can cause you a difficulty. There are companies that don't have phishing policies about clicking on links. There are companies that click on attachments. There's a whole bunch of things that you can do now that cost zero amount of money. But what it does is it allows you to be that much more protected. And that's what we're doing, because risk can never be eliminated and risk can never go to zero. But you can do a great deal to mitigate it. And you can do a great deal to stay ahead to the best that you can of what's going on in your market and in the broader economy and in the broader cyberspace, so that you understand the threats that are likely to come your way. That's what we do here at Preparedness Labs Incorporated. That's what we're existing for. And on this podcast, Mastering Risk, and on the YouTube series of Mastering Risk. Our goal here is to continue to regularly provide you the best possible information and the best possible advice that's available right now. And we'll continue to do that a couple of times a week. We put out probably 700 pieces of individual social media every week across our feeds. We're on TikTok, YouTube Shorts. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on X. Everything is there. So follow us on our social media feeds. It's all free and it will remain free. If you go to our website at preparednesslabs.ca, you go to the top of the Shopify, you click on catalog, sort by price. You'll see there's a whole number, almost a dozen of free products we have there. So all of the information we provide to you is free of charge. We're giving it to you to help make your entrepreneurial venture a little bit safer, a little bit more insulated, and a little bit less risk exposed. We can never get it to zero, but we're here to help. Thanks for listening. Take care. Stay safe.